don't.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Peter.
Yeah.
Tim, please.
Oh, sorry. Thanks.
Thank you. Kia ora toto. My name is Tim Frank, and yes, I've got my clerical collar on, but normally I don't. But the schedule was for this changed to this. So previously I worked in government transport administration and also in logistics. So I've also got quite a few kids, and so I just want to speak also on behalf of them, because I note that there's quite some debt being incurred. And I just want to be assured that this is for capital spending, not for operational, because we should not saddle our children with debt. Another thing I want to talk about is transport, because that's what I'm interested in. And I generally support active transport and more public transport. Now, currently under the GPS, some of the funding for that may be a bit limited. So I thought you really need to use some of that funding a bit more smarter. Now, for example, here, as you see up there, recently the Trafalgar Street Papanui Parallel Cycleway was sealed with chip seal, which is not very good for bikes. And over in Church Lane in Maryvale, a very nice seal was put there, which would be very nice for bikes, but there's hardly any there. So I just want to, get a bit up the game in what you do where. Now, the next one, for example, there's an intersection in Papanui. There are about 12, 13 buses turning right, and there's no right turn arrow. And, the buses, as you can see, are often 4 minutes late or something just at that intersection. And it doesn't have to be a busway or anything like that, bus lane. But if you just could put one there, maybe that would help. I've had a response from one of the transport planners, and he says, no, he's more concerned about the roads going up Main North Road than the buses turning right into Harewood Road. So those are just two changes. Overall, I would think that for buses, it's important that you look at each individual bus route and optimize it. Just have a transport planner go along, crunch the data by bus route, and then actually optimize it. There's lots of little things that could be done. And for example, also for bus lanes, don't just assume they use between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. Actually crunch the numbers and look what's happening there. Also, I think that our streets need to be safer for both young and old. I've know lots of old people, and they would want to use the bus, but they can't cross the road if they go home again. They can go in one direction, but not in the other direction. Another thing is that you should protect key corridors. And in Papanui, for example, there's St. James Park here on the right, and there's a cycleway that goes through to Harewood Road. Currently, it's very narrow. About 2 years ago, the property was on sale. Nobody thought of maybe pinching half a meter to make the cycleway a bit wider. The cost would have been $64,000 for the property plus legal, so that's double, something like that. But that's $120,000 or so. Also, currently, for example, the Papanui railway station is for sale. That may be an opportunity to do something to protect that corridor. Also, I realize that the funding for Christchurch is currently not sufficient, I think, to do some major projects. So I really encourage you to push for city deals, because you need more finance. Or get a greater share of revenue through something. I have a few suggestions here, but maybe there are a few more. And also, as you're looking at the mass transit, which is part of the Greater Christchurch plan, you really need to get more funding for that so that it gets more certainty. So that's my brief comments. There's more in my submission. Thank you.
Celeste? Yep.
Thank you, very interesting. Can you just spend a bit more on the congestion charging side of it? Because I feel like we haven't really talked about that sufficiently.
Well, as you know, various governments have thought about congestion charging. It depends how you implement it. You can just have it in the central city, or you can put it in zones or whatever. Really, you would currently, I would encourage you to work together with Auckland and other cities and see what they're implementing to see how it might work here. but from that there should be enough funding to do some major projects. That's what. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I just got a question because you said about capital investment
Yes.
at the beginning. I was just wondering what your opinion is about. Well, we're planning to fund renewals of our infrastructure by rating for it by 2032, but we're slowing that down. So we reduced that after the earthquakes, and we're slowing down that at the moment so we can reduce the rates for a few years and then ramp that back up again. So it means that we'll end up borrowing for some of our renewals now. And then paying more interest. So it'll cost longer in the long term. But I was wondering what your opinion is about that, because obviously it's to reduce rates for the next couple of years.
Yeah, so I realised that the current rate rise is quite substantial. So probably in this current year it's not really feasible. But I think in the closer term, maybe we would have to look at more rate rises rather than debt, which I think should be kept for major upgrades and new capital.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your submission. Thank you. Is Vanessa here, please?